Are you ready? He's gonna come out with you.
He's hiding himself.
What are we doing, Mr. Man, huh?
Stuck.
Are we stuck? Oh, you're bringing it out. Yes. Your nest is not around, unfortunately. There
Oh
we
my
go.
goodness.
How sweet. So he is one that he does a lot of nesting behaviors. And being a penguin, part of your nesting behavior is decorating your. Don't be a sassy boy with me. Part of their behaviors is, decorating their nest. So he will take lots of trinkets over to Miss Tweedle, his girlfriend. We actually a couple months ago posted a picture of her in her nest, and he had taken pretty much every single toy that we provided them and stuffed them in her nest with her.
Good partner.
He is a very, very good boyfriend. He treats her very, very well. And he's, fairly young, so he didn't have the best role models either. So
Wow.
it was honestly very shocking that he got along with her so well.
Was he hatched here?
He was hatched here, and he was actually hand raised by our zookeepers. His parents, Doodle and Gilligan, they were first-time penguin parents, and they laid 2 eggs, which is fairly typical for penguins. They usually lay 1 or 2 eggs per breeding season, but the second egg is typically just kind of like a backup in case the first egg doesn't hatch. In human care, their eggs almost always hatch if we allow them to. And that was the case with Pip and Doodle, Gilligan, and Cheers. Pip was the second egg to be laid. He was the second egg to hatch almost a full week after his brother Cheers. And once he hatched, his parents, they looked at him and they looked at each other and they were in over their heads. They were like, how do we feed now 4 mouths? This is ridiculous. So our zookeepers did have to sweep in, take him actually home with them because he had to be fed every 2 hours for months. So we had to have zookeepers that were able to wake up, every 2 hours. And unfortunately, the bed that we have here at the zoo is not super comfortable for the amount of time that they had to take care of him. So that was one exception that we were able to make. Doesn't happen all the time, but with these guys, in those situations, it is possible. But he is most easily identified with that lovely red band that he's wearing on his right wing. His girlfriend Tweedle, she has a darker blue band on her left wing. And she also has these really cute little white patches on her cheeks that I think are super adorable. So you might be able to spot them. They always go swimming together. They're always hanging out together. So usually if you see him, you'll see Tweedle. They'll always follow each other around. It's super duper cute. But since Pip is one of our younger penguins that we have here at the zoo, you might have noticed as I was grabbing that newspaper, he's very curious about everything. He loves to explore, including, our arms. If you have your fingernails painted, he'll want to try to figure out what's on your fingers. Anything shiny. A couple winters ago, we found out that he really likes that really fuzzy, like Sherpa material. So he just loves to investigate. Tweedle, she is more of like a middle-aged penguin. She's like 15 these days. So she has started to slow down on her curiosity a little bit. She is more of a relaxed, I'm gonna bask in the sun kind of girl, which I totally get. But these guys, they do still always go for their morning swims. You can see he is a little bit damp right now. I did watch him come out of the water as I was walking to go and crate him. And then he ran right up once he saw me, which is always the best part of my day. I love getting greeted by him. But because he's a boy, he does love to protect his house and his girlfriend. So he is one that I cannot go in and touch him if he is in the penguin den, especially if Tweedle's around. And I can't touch Tweedle if he's around. But when they're in classroom settings like this and they're away from their partner and they're away from their nest, they're like, oh my goodness, all of these big friends, how cool. And Tweedle will actually sometimes lay down and fall asleep as she's getting the back rubs, which I think is super cute. But he is super curious about literally everything. And right now he's showing off this very beautiful preening behavior. Since he got all wet, he has to make sure his feathers are gonna look nice for us. But while he's doing that, we can learn a little bit more about their species as a whole. So these guys, they are a warm weather species. They're fairly small. They like to eat a lot of those smaller schooling fish for that reason. So they eat things like anchovies, sardines, mackerel, and herring. They will branch out and eat some other marine items. They might eat some jellyfish and things like that. But fish, for the most part, those small schooling fish are the main portion of their diets. Here at the zoo, we do hand feed them and they get capelin and herring. And it's kind of funny with our penguins, they prefer the capelin, even though it's not something that they'd really get in the wild. We actually have to trick them into eating their herring most of the time. A little like wave of the capelin in their face, a little stick of the herring. Sometimes, you know, we have a few penguins that are very, very smart about it. They know that we do that little trick, and they will take the herring and then just throw it out of their mouth. So we have to be a little bit creative, but the hand feeding is super duper important for these guys because they are the masters of disguise. A lot of animals here are really, really good at hiding when they're not feeling good because that's a defense mechanism in the wild. If you are walking around all slow and sluggish and you look like you're not feeling well, you're a really easy target for a predator. And even though these guys don't have to worry about predators here at the zoo, they do have to worry about a vet that they don't like very much. Just like your animals at home, most of the animals here at the zoo do not love the vet. And they know that if they are walking around with like a limp or something, that means that their zookeeper's gonna call the vet. So they will hide those behaviors in front of our zookeepers. So one way that we can really monitor their health is counting how many fish each penguin is eating. And if we just had fish kind of swimming around in their ponds and things all the time, we would have no clue how many fish each penguin is eating. But if all of a sudden Pip here was eating like 1 fish per meal, that would tell us that he is probably not feeling well, whether it be his belly or if he's having feet issues or something. Those are all things that we kind of monitor for a little bit. We would monitor, see if he's gonna eat a couple more fish throughout the week, and if it doesn't get any better, we'll kind of text our vet, let her know what's going on. And she'll kind of look at his history. If he's had a bout of this in the past and it was just like an upset belly situation, she'll have us just monitor it for a couple more days. But if it's like, ooh, Pip has never had this happen before, I'm kind of interested to see what's going on or curious, she'll kind of come in whenever she has the time then to take a look at him. But on the other hand of things, if these guys are eating like a whole bunch of fish, that will tell us that they are getting ready to molt. These penguins, they do a catastrophic molt, so they lose all of their feathers within the span of a week and grow them all back within the span of the next week. So there is a solid like week and a half period, maybe sometimes 2 weeks, a little bit longer than that, where they don't really eat anything. If they have a very, very loving partner, their partner might like baby bird feed them a little bit. We have that happen here occasionally. But for the most part, they really gorge leading up to that. And the main reason that they can't go fishing is because they don't have that layer of blubber that those cold weather penguins have. They strictly rely on their feathers. So I'll give you each a little pinch of feathers to see what they feel like. They have these really small little contour feathers, and then they do have, yeah, it's all right. We've got a couple of penguins that are molting right now. A couple more. Oh. Pip will love to chase that.
You see him?
You're welcome.
Oh wow.
There we go.
Very fluffy.
So yes, they do have a little bit of down feathers as well. Oh, a nice big poop for us. They have those feathers that are super duper tightly packed together. They almost zip together like a zipper, which is kind of cool. But it traps that body heat while they're. I'm gonna have to distract you today, aren't I? Maybe not. Already.
Look at him. He sees the bee.
So yeah, their contour feathers really keep them nice and warm, traps that body heat, and then once they're molting, they really don't eat at all. In human care, every once in a while we'll still offer them the fish, but most of the time they don't eat it. They really get to this like slow, sluggish kind of mode during that molting period. But once they grow them all back, they start eating again. But during and leading up to that molting period, they start to look really funny. So if you look at our penguins, you might see that we have a few that are pretty chunky right now. And that's because they not only have been eating a lot, but they've been retaining a ton of fluid to prepare for this molt. That extra fluid and all that extra food will help keep them a little bit warm while they're on the beaches. But aside from keeping them warm, their feathers do also play a role in their safety in the ocean. It is their form of camouflage. It is this really cool thing called counter shading that a lot of marine animals use, including a lot of the predators as well, if you think about the orcas. But in the penguin's case, if there's a predator swimming below them looking up, that white belly will kind of help them blend in with that lighter looking water at the top, and then vice versa. If there's a predator above them looking down, that black back will kind of blend in with that deeper, darker looking water. And then I totally realized that I forgot to mention how they cool down, because the ocean is really, really cold in Africa, but the beach itself can get pretty crazy hot. But their birds, they cannot sweat. So you look at his cute little pink eyebrows and his little pink patches on his feet. Those are just built-in air conditioning. When it gets crazy hot on the beaches, blood rushes to those places, making them super pink, almost red. And then between the cold ocean breeze and the tide coming up on their feet, it'll cool the blood in those places, and that cooled blood will kind of circulate all the way through them, cooling them entirely down. But on those really, really hot days, they are just gonna go swimming for like most of the day. That is the most efficient way to cool down. And then they can do a couple of just like really remarkable things. They can dive around 330 feet, which is pretty crazy. I have like the most basic like scuba certification you can get, and you can go like I think 60 feet deep. It's been a while since I've gone scuba diving, but I think it's like 60 feet. But I did do a little bit of extra research to see if there's any like people that get trained to go that deep, because to me that's like a lot of pressure for like just our bodies, and there's so much that could go wrong down there. And there are, but it's like very, very highly specialized fields in the military. So it's not just your average Joe, but it is your average penguin, which I think is pretty cool. They can swim around 15 miles per hour, which doesn't sound all that impressive, but when we then compare it to our fastest Olympic swimmers, those guys are going like 4 or 5 miles an hour. So our penguins are still going about 10 miles faster than our fastest swimmers, which is pretty cool, right?
Very cool.
Well, I think he is ready to have some fun. So it is enrichment time for our penguins. And with these guys, we have repurposed a very lovely cat toy into a penguin toy. This kind of stimulates that fishing that they don't get to do here at the zoo. There is a little bit of that eye-beak coordination that goes into like the catching of the tossed fish, but it is not the same as the actual hunt. So this stimulates that hunt. He gets very excited for it. But today we have a little bit of extra enrichment with Pip today, because he gets to do one of his favorite activities, and he gets to paint. I'm gonna go ahead and write his name on the back of here. I wrote everything else, but I didn't know if I was gonna have Pip or Tweedle join me today. So, get that on there quick. They both were very excited to come, and I was like, Pip tends to be the more excited painter, so. We'll see. I'm gonna lay a little bit of newspaper down. It's not gonna like completely get rid of my mess, but it'll minimize it a little bit for me. Right. Probably so excited.
Curious little puppy. She's white.
And then I will also give you guys some paint. You can choose anywhere between 2 and 4 colors for me.
It is all this boy right here.
It's all you. All right,
Yes.
whatever you want.
So cute.
I'm so excited. You always love the paint. Yes. See, we always have a good time. Oh. That's my finger. Can I step on there?
Yeah, that's a good one.
There we go.
What? If you want, yeah. How many penguins do you guys have here?
We have 14 penguins currently, and that is capacity for what we like to have.
Yeah.
The AZA does allow us to have, I think, up to 20 in our den, but we have like an absolute soap opera in there. It is crazy. Breeding season.
I love it.
He must bring it to his nest. But
That's oh, he's so cute.
breeding season gets a little bit crazier around here.
When is their
So,
breeding season?
like usually during our winters. They
Okay.
will, since we're in a zoo setting, they will oftentimes breed outside of their typical breeding season. But it's not super typical. But did you want me to try to get like half the colors mostly on one, or you want them all on all of them? They're
up
gonna
to you,
kind
buddy.
of all get on all of them, but like I can try to get like only 2 with like a little bit of the other two.
I wanna try and get
All of them on all of it? Okay, beautiful. All right, Mr. Pip. He's like, I'm over here. What you doing?
So are the 14, are they all like equally matched, male and female?
They are not. So we do actually have right now more boys than we have girls, which is part of the reason.
I was
we
gonna say,
have
is that the
such-
drama?
Yes. And we have a lot of mate flopping that happens, which
Oh,
is
no.
not super typical. They are typically a monogamous species.
Okay.
But again, in a zoo settings, when you have more boys than you have girls, the boys are gonna do anything they can to try to get a lady.
Yeah.
But it's usually not anything serious. It's usually just like they're like peck at each other, like get out of my way.
Just get a little sassy with each
But when I have to go in there, then it's a whole different story. With this cat toy, I will allow you guys to kind of help him go through the paint. The goal is to let him catch it so that he doesn't lose interest in it.
Okay.
If he loses interest, then we'll just kind of let him do it on his own, and we'll kind of play with him again more at the end, see if he's interested. But once he catches it, rip it out of that mouth. He does have a very nice sharp point on his beak that he can use to catch it, and sometimes he gets a good hold on it. But rip it out. It's not like the worst thing in the world if he swallows it. It's just like a very soft material. These guys are swallowing very sharp fish fins. So this is actually fully vet approved, which is awesome. But if you would like to come up and you can walk him through the paint all the way around the playpen, whatever you want to do with him.
Oh.
It is your
Keep it
time.
moving, walk around, Wally.
And that snap of the beak. So I've been bitten by the penguins a handful of times. But I have tried to see like how much pressure is in that snap, and there has not been research done on that yet. Researchers have done it on a lot of the big cats to see what their bite force is.
Yeah.
But that's because they do have like really, really strong muscles and huge jaws. So it's something that a lot of people are curious in. But until you really hear that snap, you don't start to think about it.
It's like I got to play photo ready.
Sees himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gorgeous.
If you wiggle around real crazy like too, sometimes that.
Like a cat, you know? Wait, why are you doing this?
It's touching me. It's touching me.
Let's see if I can get some red over here.
I'll walk back that way, maybe he'll come. Oh, there he goes. He's got it.
Oh.
Big fluff. So they do that if their feathers are feeling a little bit wonky, they can't quite figure out which one it is. They'll kind of fluff all of their feathers up, kind of like a giant goosebump, so that hopefully once they lay back down, they kind of fix themselves.
Well, try like a cat.
No, that's okay. He's interested in Dad. Maybe Dad's crazy socks.
He's just
What's
not
that bud?
interested.
Here, we can see, I do have a second variation of that toy. You can see if that one is better.
There he
Sometimes
goes.
if we,
Oh,
yeah,
ew.
there we go.
Yep.
You can switch.
Whoa.
Try it.
Yeah, that one's longer. What do you think, Pip?
Oh, yeah.
There he goes. A little
Nope.
bit.
He's on his own journey.
No,
you
come
over
over
there.
there. I want to see. Oh my goodness.
Not feeling playful today, huh?
Everybody's got bright socks on.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
you have socks.
I don't have any socks. Oh my
He's
goodness.
funny. He's like, have both of them. Yeah, you need both.
So I try not to do both of them at the same time because he is one that he also gets overstimulated very easily. And he does this thing when he gets very, very excited called flap happy, where he like raises his neck really, really big and he like flaps his wings a whole bunch, like he's trying to take off. And it expends a lot of energy for him. And I don't want to make him a super, super tired boy. So
See if you
we'll
walk
stick
over
with the
there.
one.
No, keep walking. There you go.
Bring him towards the red.
There you go.
Keep going, keep going.
You got it, you got it. Okay, now bring him around.
Was it really crazy? Here we go.
Looks like a squirmy fish.
There you go. Oh.
No, that's it.
Keep
Oh
rolling.
my
Goodness. Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep it
whirling,
going.
whirling seems to work.
Tornado it.
He's like,
We can hear us
Okay.
laughing.
I'm good now.
Well, we can see if he'll finish the paintings on his own, and then we can give him some extra like enrichment playtime at the end. We can see kind of what he's feeling later.
It looks like he's
But,
smiling.
Now we're going to have a little bit of fun. We can talk about what we like to call here at the new zoo, the good, the bad, and the cute. We're going to start off with the bad, kind of get that out of the way, and then we'll kind of end on that cute note. But in the early 1900s, the African penguins had an estimated population of 1.5 million. These days, the numbers are floating a lot closer to 14,000, which is a very, very drastic drop in that short amount of time. There have been a handful of things that have caused their population to drop so drastically, and one of those is oil spills. As you can imagine, if they are eating fish that is covered in oil, that is not good for their bellies. It can make them pretty sick. But on top of that, if they are getting fully covered in oil, their feathers won't lay properly and they won't be able to stay warm in the ocean, so they won't be able to go swimming. Another crazy thing that was happening that doesn't always sound like a crazy big deal, but people were going around and harvesting all that lovely guano or poop that he's been leaving me. It doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but these guys, their poop, it is super, super high in nutrients, especially things like nitrogen.
Right on cue.
Honestly, that was pretty good. And nitrogen is really, really important for our crops. So the people that were living in South Africa, they thought, you know what? There's almost 2 million penguins on this beach. They're pooping 8 to 10 times an hour. They thought that they were gonna do some really simple beach cleanup while getting some free fertilizer out of it. What they didn't realize is that that poop, that guano, is essential for their nest making. It mixes with the sand, allows them to kind of mold the sand to have this nice big domed cover on their nest, keeping them and their eggs safe from predators like mongoose as well as people. Kind of everything all moved around today. But people, they were going onto the beaches. Again, they saw almost 2 million penguins on a beach. Didn't really think they were doing any harm by collecting a couple of eggs here and there. But they were going around and they were collecting the eggs. You can grab the bowl and you can touch the eggs, feel them, pick them up, see what they're like. They were collecting the eggs to eat them. And as I mentioned earlier, these guys really only lay 1 to 2 eggs per breeding season, and both eggs aren't guaranteed to hatch if either of them do. So even going around and collecting 1 or 2 eggs here and there, it does have a fairly drastic effect on their population. That is now illegal, which is really awesome, so it's not happening as much. But it was happening, and that is part of the reason that their population dropped so drastically. On top of that, the 2 biggest things that they're facing today are not having enough beach habitat to live on, and part of that is a climate change issue. We are seeing sea levels and oceans rising all over the world. Our beaches are getting smaller everywhere. But on top of that, our infrastructure, especially in South Africa, is kind of always and ever expanding. So we're just kind of starting to take up some of their space as well. But on top of that, they are also struggling to find some food these days. Again, part of that is a climate change issue. We are seeing a very, very big increase of El Nino events. They used to happen only every once in a while, and now they're happening like all the time. And basically what an El Nino event, it is where warm water pushes the cold water away from where it usually hangs out in the ocean, meaning that all of the cold water fish in South Africa that these guys like to eat, following that cold water away from where our penguins are, leaving them with warm water and warm weather species that they might not recognize as food, or maybe too big for them to even fit in their mouths. But on top of that, overfishing is always a really, really big issue in the ocean. The ocean is super, super hard to legislate and write laws about, especially when it comes to fishing, because it is not owned by anyone, and it takes everyone working together to write these laws and figure out the best way to combat these issues. But enough of the bad, we can talk about the good, all the fun things that are going on to help these guys out. There is an organization down in South Africa called SANCCOB. They do have a home base down there these days. And they save seabirds, so not even just our African penguins, any sort of seabird that is in need, they'll help them out. SANCCOB is one of the leading research organizations that does try to do almost a yearly count on the penguins and a yearly estimate on their population. But they also help out in times of need, especially in cases of an oil spill. If there's an oil spill, what SANCCOB is going to do is they are going to take all of the penguins that have not yet been covered in oil and take them all the way across Africa and release them, forcing them to swim all the way back home. By the time those penguins get home, they don't have to worry about the oil, they're completely safe. As for the penguins that do get completely covered in oil, they're gonna do what they do in like those Dawn commercials, and they pick them up and give them a little scrubbing. But with these guys, it takes 3 to 4 people per penguin. They are small, but boy are they mighty. They have a lot of muscles, and since they're a bird, they do have a lot of ability to move their necks and heads around. So it takes typically 2, sometimes 3 people just to secure a penguin while one person is doing the actual scrubbing. Definitely a lot of blood, sweat, and tears shed for that one, but it is so worth it. Another thing that these guys do is another organization that helps these guys out is an organization called Invest in the Nest. And what they do is they create these little concrete domes that they place all over the beaches, allowing the penguin pairs to kind of go house hunting. They'll kind of walk up and down the beaches to decide if it's too close to the ocean or too far away until they find that one in the perfect spot. And they can kind of make it their own with all that decorating and sometimes a little bit of digging to make it a little bit deeper. But one of the biggest things that is going on to help these guys out, especially in human care, is the Saving Animals from Extinction breeding program. This is a very, very large program that the AZA has started, and the program, it has very then smaller, like individualized programs for our endangered species, and we are continuously adding more and more species to the safe list. African penguins are ones that have been on there for a very, very long time, pretty much since the start of the SAFE program as a whole, because they have been really struggling for quite some time. The SAFE program will match these guys up. Hello, handsome. I know you don't like it when I touch your butt. These guys, we will match them up based off their genetics, which works hand in hand with our species survival plan, which is the book that hosts all of our animals' genetics. And not only will we ensure that we can have healthy babies, but we can ensure that we're having genetic diversity. With our African penguins, we do not have any plans to do any re-releases as of right now because of all the issues that they're facing. If we, went and released our penguins out into the wild, that would be not humane. They don't have food, they don't have space, they would really be set up for failure. So right now, the goal with the African penguins for the AZA, the SAFE program, and the Species Survival Plan is to keep a very healthy population in human care that is also very diverse. So that in the future, once we're able to figure out how to combat those issues in Africa, we can hopefully do re-releases with the penguins. And then we won't just be releasing, a flock of penguins that is all related. We can have some pretty good genetics and some diversity. When it comes to endangered species, a lot of times they end up going extinct because once their population drops so low, they all start to share very, very similar genetics. And that means that if there's a natural disaster, a disease outbreak, the entire population serves the exact same chance of survival for those things. So it's really important for us that we're not just letting our animals breed all crazy willy-nilly. We want to make sure that we have a purpose behind it, So we can make sure that we're increasing the diversity and not just having, a bunch of cousins that we're gonna release into the wild someday. But through the Species Survival Plan, the SAFE program, we have had a ton of hatchlings here over the years, 5 of which are still currently with us, including Pip and his sassy brother Cheers. Cheers is one of our more wild penguins since he was fully raised by his parents and he didn't need any zookeeper intervention. He is a very territorial boy. You get real close to him and he is the first one to come near your boots. But they are super duper fun. And we are hoping that, sometime in the near future, we can ship out some of our boys to their perfect matches at other zoos, so we can, make some more room. And then hopefully we can allow some eggs to hatch. For the last little bit now, since we've had so many penguins, we have been giving them some time to practice incubating their eggs, which is actually where all of the eggs that I let you guys touch came from. So they'll lay the eggs, they'll get some time to sit on the eggs and practice incubating them. And then, our zookeepers, once they pull them, they'll candle them, see if there's any sort of development, so we can get a clue as to how our penguins are doing. We can kind of figure it out just by looking them and watching them incubate them, the eggs themselves. And Pip and Tweedle, they laid their first egg together, not this past breeding season, but the one before that. And we have learned quite a bit. Tweedle is going to be a great mom. She sits on that egg so perfectly, but Pip has some work to do. He really has no clue what he's getting better, I will say. This last breeding season, he almost had it. But the season before that, it was sticking out his chest or at his side or at his butt. And the craziest thing was sometimes he'd have it rolled out of the nest. He'd have a little toy truck tucked underneath his belly.
Oh no!
So he would get a little confused. He didn't have the best role models, so I get it. We are hoping that someday in the future, we can let their eggs hatch if Pip can figure it out. Maybe we can have a little, ambassador baby with these guys, which would be fun. Pip and Tweedle, they are also kind of a special pairing. Because they did find each other naturally, which is not something that usually happens in a zoo setting. Tweedle was brought here when she was, just a couple years old, just kind of approaching her adulthood. She was in her teenage years, to be, a mate with one of our boys. We had a very specific boy in mind. They had great genetics. It would be perfect. She wanted nothing to do with him. He would bring her pebbles, and she was like, nope, I'm fine. I'm a strong and independent woman. I want nothing to do with you. Over the years then, all of the other boys had tried to win her over. Still, for years, nothing. A couple years ago, Pip hit the age of 3, which is when he started to hit maturity. He was starting to become an adult. He had his eyes set on Tweedle, brought her some pebbles, and for the first time ever, she accepted them. So even though they don't have 100% the perfect genetics, we did get the okay from the AZA and the SAFE program and the Species Survival Plan to allow their eggs to hatch if we would like them to. So we're hoping someday in the future that will be something that can happen. Fingers crossed. But that little fluff ball up there in the corner was actually Mr. Pip at his very first vet appointment. So he was very small, and even to this day, he is one of our smaller penguins. That is part of the reason his name is Pip. He's always been a little pipsqueak. Even Tweedle, his girlfriend, she towers over him. She's a big girl, I will say, but he just looks so small next to her. And now that we have learned a little bit about Pip and our African penguins, we can learn about what we can do to help these guys out all the way from Wisconsin. We've already done 2 of those. We've already learned more about our African penguins, and we just became good friends with Mr. Pip here. The other things we can do, they're honestly really, really basic. They're things like picking up after ourselves. We don't want to be throwing things on the ground outside because there is always a chance that if we're throwing it on the ground, it could make its way into the waterway, which makes its way into the ocean, which makes its way into the mouth of our lovely penguins. It's a very, very small chance. It could happen, but if that's not going to happen, there's an even higher chance that it will get into the mouths of some animals living in our backyards. And I know we're used to seeing our squirrels and our rabbits and things all the time, but they do still play a very, very important role in their ecosystems and the survival of us as a species. So it's really important that we take care of them so we can take care of ourselves. The other things we can do, this one's more for our adults, but you can buy sustainably sourced seafood. The Monterey Bay Aquarium has a really, really awesome resource on their website called the Seafood Watch, and it breaks it down on good, bad, kind of good. Maybe don't eat it all the time. But it's a really awesome resource. And they have a section where you can actually search to see which grocery stores in your area are seafood safe certified, meaning all the seafood that they take in is already certified safe and you don't really have to worry about it. It's a really awesome resource. I do have a handful of cards here that you can take with you if you would like. Otherwise, we do have some hanging up in the lobby area too, and I think we have some sushi ones in the lobby area if you're a sushi lover. But it's a really cool resource. Even if you're not gonna like use it, it's cool to just check it out and see what it's all about. The other thing you can do, pictures, videos, anything that you've taken, feel free to share those online. We'll do a couple more pictures. I wanted to make sure that he wasn't gonna get real crazy for like our touching bit. So I wanted to make sure he was like nice and zen for that. But share that you care, feel free to post them on social media or just with your friends and family, letting everyone know how sweet Mr. Pip is. But that is all of my information.
Aww.
We can see if we can do, that is Tweedle. Yes, that is our beautiful girl. You can kind of see that she got the white that kind of comes out in there. But if we would like to give Mr. Pip some love, we can use an entire hand on his back here. He is one that he is curious, so I recommend not putting your fingers near his beak. He does get hand fed, so you might think that you have a fish in your hand, but maybe bracelets off, just because he might be curious about them, but that should be good. Yeah. He is very sweet, he's very soft, and he's not as wet anymore, which is kind of nice. But if you would like to come up, you are more than welcome. Come and stand on this side, and maybe face those guys, so we can get like a nice photo op.
How does he feel, Wally? He's soft.
What? Oh yeah.
You wanna try, Wally?
Are you gonna pay him, Penguin?
Do you like cash?
He's very soft.
He's a very, very soft boy.
I love his
So
belly
cute.
freckles too.
Yes, those spots, they are all unique to each individual penguin, kind of like our fingerprints. So our zookeepers that work with these guys all the time can tell them apart just by looking at those spots. I cannot do that. There's like a few penguins I can kind of tell, like Pip, has that little freckle head on his white spot, on his little white stripe on his head there, which is one that I actually just noticed a couple of weeks ago that I had never noticed before.
So soft. Oh my
It's
gosh.
really, really soft. So Greta, how did you get started here? What is your journey here?
So I've always really, really loved animals ever since I was really little. My entire life I wanted to be a veterinarian, and then in high school I found out that I'm allergic to like every animal out there. And my allergist was like, that's really cool, but if you want pets, which of course I did, he was like, you cannot be a veterinarian. That would just be an overload on your system, you'll be miserable. And I was like, fine, I get it. So then I went into college undecided. I went to UW Eau Claire, and they had a class where if you were undeclared, you could go and for a couple hours a day, a teacher would, or a professor or someone would sit and like talk you through all the different majors. You could explore all these different things, see the different things that you can do. And I ended up majoring in ecology and environmental biology.
Nice.
So I got my bachelor's, and then I was like totally burnt out by the end of that because I was doing it all. I was a TA, I was a research assistant,
my
I was working
goodness.
40 hours a week. So I was a little bit tired, a little bit burnt out, wanted a break from everything. So I stayed in Eau Claire for a year as a barista. And then I was like, all right, I should probably think about, finding a job related to my field. Because I really fell in love with research. I would like to go back to school, get my master's or my PhD, but that is all very expensive. So we are, still on that mindset, but taking our time with it a little bit. But I moved home, and for a few months I didn't have any sort of job, and then my brother's babysitter fell through, and I was a nanny for a few months for a really colicky baby, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. So I started to like really, really search for jobs, and I landed on this one.
Penguin baby.
And I fell in love. It's really awesome. It's one of those things that I'm gonna have a really hard time leaving when it comes that time. And it's like, I love my coworkers, but I love the animals so much.
Yeah.
They're all super, super special. Everyone always asks me like, what's your favorite animal to work with? And I could not tell you. Like, every day it changes depending on my mood.
Yeah.
But yeah,
amazing.
it's really fun.
Get
It's
real
a,
close.
it's a really great time. And I know
He's
our
like,
zookeepers,
no.
they have, you know, all different pathways and things. Some of them went to college, got their 4-year degree, interned here for a few or for a couple of semesters or a semester only, before they, you know, applied for a zookeeping position here and got that. And they've been here since.
That's cool.
But we have other zookeepers that have like their associate's degree, and then they went and they were an animal care person at like the wildlife sanctuary or
Yeah.
something.
He's really trying to get out. You can just hear the
Tap, 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 tap.
Always interested. But yeah, it is one that like a lot of times having experience with animals is really, really helpful, whether it even just be like volunteering at a zoo or something.
Yeah.
But you know, you don't necessarily have to have the experience to get into it at all. In college, I did a little bit of like fish care with the marine club that they had. But that, I mean, aside from like pets that I had, that was really the only experience that I had in animal care. The research that I did, I was working with dead invertebrates, so like not living ones. But yeah, it's definitely fun. There's so many different ways you can go about getting
Yeah.
into it.
That's amazing.
Oh,
How are we feeling about our paintings? Do we want to try to get him through more paint at
I
all?
think they look cute.
they're adorable.
Maybe a bit more on
This
that,
one?
yeah.
All right, I'll pull this one up, and then I'll give you that toy again.
Ooh, you wanna see if you can
he's
lure him over?
excited to get crazy.
I hear something. It's no sprinklers.
All right.
Alright,
You ready?
give it a go, Wally.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Keep it going.
Well, he's like, no, no, no.
There you go.
And bring him over to the corner.
Nice.
Okay,
He's
I'm
like
done.
that.
I'm done.
He's so cute. Oh my goodness.
Maybe I'll rotate it so you can have easier access to that corner. There we go.
Try twirling it really crazy again.
Not so
You're
much.
handsome.
Oh. So you, yeah, walk over that.
Come on.
Bump
You're
in
what's
his big-
out. You're too crazy to let out.
Beetle.
I'm gonna run away.
Oh, there we
I'm
go.
gonna run
There
through.
we
Now
go.
keep him walking, Wiley. Oh my goodness. I love the way those white feathers swirl around the side of the head.
Wally, walk over to
You think Pip, huh?
He's like,
Oh, there we go.
Oh, keep walking.
Come over like Greta.
There you go. Keep walking. Keep walking. There you go. Waddle, that is so cute. There you go. Keep walking.
Just keep moving, bud. Keep moving.
I'm just gonna sit here. Why y'all moving? Everybody else stand still. You don't care at this point.
There we go. Oh.
I'm gonna go over here.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Hi. No. Just like
Kids and animals, right?
he's done.
He might be
He's
done,
done.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least he got that corner
Yeah.
covered now.
That looks gorgeous.
You wanna see your
Amazing
paintings?
work, bud.
Sometimes he'll like add a little signature.
Oh.
Oh, now he goes.
Get that paper out of the way.
I love it.
I think,
Love it.
well, just, yeah, I think we
Well,
might have to keep it a little bit out
Here.
of the street.
Let's see. You wanna see him? He's like, no, they're perfect, I already know.
I do great work.
I don't need to
Oh,
take
those
a
are
look.
super cute, Wally.
Would you like to take a picture with Pip in the paintings? I can have you hold the paintings, and then I'll clean up this stuff here, and we can get Mr. Pip over here. Well, hello, my handsome. Take that newspaper with you. Oh, and I just stuck my hand right in that poop as it sprayed out of your butt.
Oh.
Oh my goodness, that's a first for me. I've had them like poop through the crate and like get all over me before, but I've never like caught it in my hand. That was crazy. But all right,
Here, well.
I will have you. Actually, I'll take this. Find the corner that doesn't have a ton of paint. There we go. And then you go
Come
stand
stand over here.
He like already knows the drill.
Okay.
And then hold him.
All
up.
right.
I'll be your pet. Right here. Good job. Oh, he's like frozen.
Nice.
He's so cute.
Big
There you
love.
go.
Yeah.
I love it.
Is there anyone else that wanted to join in any of the pictures?
Yeah.
Mama, do you want me?
You can do single pictures too if you'd like to as well.
You do a family one.
Yes, we could do a family one.
Okay.
I'll take the picture.
Try to get out of it.
Nice try, girl.
Gotta make sure you record.
Oh my gosh.
No, Dad.
Oh, Peppa's like, hey.
He likes Dad.
I know, I was like, do we get down?
Took a whole bunch, so hopefully there's like a few that turned out.
Thank you so much, Greta.
Thank you guys.
Cool.
And then I do have some new
Over here, like candy design.
Awesome.
Big boy.
Ready?
Dad, you showed up and he was like, whoa.
Sweet.
And you guys are more than welcome to give him some more love. Whenever you're done with that, we have some hand sanitizer here that you're welcome to grab. If there was anyone else that wanted just like a single picture with him, we're more than welcome to do that as
Can I
well.
do a single picture?
Yeah.
Molly. Right.
Okay, we'll
Right
back
here?
up and see if he comes over.
Come here, bud.
Make some noise, Elena.
So cute.
Go boy. Alright, now look this way. Turn your head the other way.
He's trying.
It's like
Oh my goodness.
There we go.
What a handsome boy.
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
No, it's okay.
This is so cute.
Oh, you want one without ears?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now everybody's locked up to it.
Hey, my handsome. You gotta do the, you gotta attempt to do this.
Think about it.
Tempting.
You did it. Last time I didn't get Robert.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
Come on.
You could like sit up.
Yeah, you can sit right here, Wally. Yeah. Or sit down and face this way.
Now he's gonna walk.
Switch over a little bit closer that way.
There
There you go.
He doesn't bite you.
Hey, yeah.
He's so cute. It's like you can't decide.
Oh my goodness. He's adorable.
Come on.
What are you
I
doing?
want a pet.
Oh, okay.
He's like,
No, no touch.
Yeah.
hey, buddy.
Come on, Rob. Because they're waddle.
Yep, immediately.
Yeah, how fast can they like walk? Do you know?
It really depends on the penguin. They definitely aren't like super fast because their legs are very small. But when Pip gets like very excited, he can get quite a bit of speed.
Oh yeah.
I don't have anything to like compare it to,
Yeah.
like a mile per hour
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
tell you. But like we're all definitely faster than he is at his
Yeah, yeah.
speed, but
Couldn't catch a penguin. Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh. He is delightful.
He's so cute.
Ready? This is okay. I got too many things to do this morning.
Oh, there he goes.
Awesome. Lifetime achievement.
Yeah.
Need a penguin.
we have, it was last year, we've had, it was a family that came in, they bought the penguin program for their grandma, and it was her lifelong dream to like meet a penguin, and she never thought that she was ever going to do it. So she was in tears, and then I was in tears, and it was,
Oh,
it was so sweet. Yeah, some of those things, like you never really think that it's feasible, and there's really not a lot of zoos that have like programmed penguins. They'll do like the feeding programs and things, but there's not many that have like the.
I was very sad about the otter.
Yes,
That's
Mr.
my
Louie.
animal.
Yeah, Louie, that little stinker. We miss him a whole lot. Ophelia misses him a whole lot. We are working to try to find her a new mate, but she has been very, very shy ever since her
Yeah.
little adventure. So it's a long process. I mean, even getting Ophelia, when our previous female passed away, Minnie, she was a very old lady, but like not old, like we weren't necessarily like
She
super
wasn't-
prepared
yeah.
for her to pass. But we knew that she had a chronic kidney stone condition, and this last one that she had was just so bad. We had tried to do a surgical removal, but then the second we put her under anesthesia, flatline. We got her back, and then we were trying to manage it with medication, but then her appetite was just slowly decreasing. We could just tell that, she was not our happy little Min-Min anymore. But then it took like a good solid, like almost 6+ months for us to even find out that we had Ophelia that was available for us to come and grab. But since otters, like river otters, aren't super endangered anymore, their populations have really bounced back a lot over the years. They are pretty hard to come by in the zoo world. A lot of the sea otters are more readily available. But yeah, it's been an interesting time. So we've been reaching out to rehab facilities and things, just seeing if anyone has an otter. Both of, Louie and Ophelia, they had both been rehab otters.
Very fun.
Those little stinkers.
Did you
They
say
had a
your-
lot of fun in the
yeah.
snow though, so.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And then I do have some hand ties up here
Okay.
for you guys
I
whenever
got
you
one.
are
All
ready.
right.
But